Okay, this question says, this painting shares a common theme with which literary work? So if we're looking at our painting, it's titled Niagara Falls by Thomas Cole, 1830. And Niagara Falls, if you don't know, is like a waterfall, basically. So we see some kind of landscape painting, probably done by someone from the Hudson River School or something like that. And so looking at these answer choices, the correct answer would be D, Nature by Ralph Waldo Emerson. So even if you don't know what this sort of like book or literary work is, just the fact that it's titled Nature and then we've got this image here, this painting here, you can pretty easily make that connection, right? Where it's like this person, Ralph Waldo Emerson, is talking about nature, talking about the beauty of nature. And in a similar way, this painting is done to capture the beauty of nature. So D would be correct here. All right, this question says, what was one major impact of this novel? And so the novel was Uncle Tom's Cabin. If you look here, if you can see this, it says by Harriet Beecher Stowe. So if we're looking for an impact, we're looking for an effect of Uncle Tom's Cabin. And the correct answer would be D, that support grew for the abolitionist movement. Because remember, Uncle Tom's Cabin was a book about slavery that was very popular with white Northerners. So we're talking about people who never really knew what slavery was like. Maybe they said slavery was bad, but they didn't really know how bad it was until they read this book and then became very convinced that slavery was something that ought to be ended, right? It's something that ought to be abolished. All right, this question says, the abolitionist movement achieved its goal with the passage of which amendment? So again, if the goal of the abolitionist movement is to end slavery, which of these amendments ended slavery? That would be G, the 13th Amendment. This was the amendment that officially said that slavery would no longer exist in the United States. All right, this question says the 15th Amendment was ratified in order to, and the correct answer here would be D, protect the voting rights of African American men. Because what the 15th Amendment says is that all men shall have suffrage being the right to vote. All right, this question says, a historian is writing an article for a history website. The article is divided into the following topics. So the topics are the division of the South into military districts, the impeachment of the president, the ratification of the 14th and 15th Amendments. So it says, which era in U.S. history is the focus of this article? So all these things are things that happened during Reconstruction. So J would be the correct answer here. These are all things that were done specifically by the radical Republicans in order to punish white Southerners and help African Americans, help those former slaves who had just gained their freedom.